because this might be the inner chronicle of what we are, and we have to articulate ourselves, otherwise we would be cows in a field.
Welcome to Cows in the Field. This is a show in which we discuss philosophical themes in popular films. My name is Justin.
I'm Laura.
Today we're discussing Rian Johnson's 2012 film, Looper.
In the future, time travel is outlawed, used only in secret by the largest criminal organizations. When they need someone gone and they want to erase any trace of the target ever existing, they use specialized assassins like me, called loopers.
You're a looper.
You know what we do? And the only rule is never let your target escape, even if your target is you.
And our guest today is Tushar Menon. Tushar is a philosopher of physics at MIT. Welcome to Cows in the Field, Tushar.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Say Tushar is joining us in the field. This is the
he's live in the field.
He's live in the field with us here. We're talking time travel movies with a philosopher of physics. This is going to be super fun. Before we start, though, Tushar, I need you to tell us and the audience your relationship to Rian Johnson, because he's an important filmmaker to you, but you have a somewhat nuanced take on his films. So tell us about that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how nuanced it is. I love Rian Johnson. And, you know, man in the street comes up to me and says, who's your favorite filmmaker? Pretty good chance I'll say Rian Johnson. Looper was the first Rian Johnson film that I saw, and I didn't love it, and I think sort of oddly it's gone through, my opinion of this film has gone through quite a journey.
Yeah.
And ended basically back at what it was the first time I saw Looper, which was I don't know. But what really sold me on Rian Johnson, or sold Rian Johnson to me, whatever direction that's in, is he directed my favorite episode, and I think a lot of people's favorite episode of Breaking Bad. Ozymandias, the third from
Not the Fly one?
No, I mean, he did direct the Fly one too, and I think, you know,
It's an interesting
I think it's a
episode.
well-directed episode.
Yeah.
The thing is, I mean, look, that episode came out, whatever, 12, 15 years ago, whenever it came out. And at the time I was just like, oh, this is like, everything about this episode is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I go back and I watch that episode and I was like, actually a lot of what makes that episode amazing is the writing. But I mean, it's a brilliantly directed episode. I was like, okay, this is really something. And then he did Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And I never really loved Star Wars. This is sacrilege for
I know. I can't believe you're
Wow.
saying this.
nerdy philosophy of physics.
You're saying
boy.
this
Yeah.
to a live, not a live,
In
but
the
you're saying this
fields.
to a public who will listen, Tushar.
as long as they can't find
That's true.
us here, as long as they
Yes.
don't know where we're recording.
That's true.
we're-
You're
we
safe.
should be
You're in a
okay.
safe space.
Yeah.
To say that you weren't the biggest Star Wars fan.
No,
Though you do like Star Wars.
I do. I like
Yeah.
Star Wars. I've seen them all multiple times.
Yeah.
I think Star Wars is fine. I'm glad I live in a universe in which Star Wars exists.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
but what I will say is my favorite Star Wars film is Rogue One.
Yeah.
Possibly, or The Last Jedi, but neither of them really sort of animates me in any sort of really significant way.
Okay.
What I will say about The Last Jedi is, because I rewatched it yesterday after we watched Looper a couple of days ago, and it's fine. It's fine, and insofar as it's fine, it's the best Star Wars film.
Oh, wow. I thought when you told me this earlier that you were very high on Last Jedi. It's just that your views of Star Wars are so low. In
It's
a
not
way
that they're low, but yes, I mean, they're lower than most.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on. You know where we are, so you can harm me now. I should be careful.
Laura does not care if you don't like Star Wars.
Oh,
Okay,
no.
okay.
No.
This was okay.
Yeah.
So
Figure it out.
my story about Star Wars is that I love people who love Star Wars, is what has happened. Like multiple times I've had partners in my life who like have loved Star Wars, and I have like just known about it through osmosis. And now I think you've taken me along, Justin. We've watched it so many times, machete order, whatever the hell,
Yeah.
that like I love it sort of just because there's no other option. in our home.
Yeah.
No,
This is how it works in the Koo household.
But if you ask 16-year-old Laura if she likes Star Wars, I'd be like, hell no.
Yeah.
If you lived with us, Tushar, I would force you through sheer will.
You
to
too would
have
love
a
Star
higher-
Wars.
What are you, like 3 stars on Star Wars: A New Home?
I think 3 stars
And
on
then-
Star Wars, absolutely.
And then Last Jedi is like 3.5 stars.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's right.
Yeah.
I will say just on the Star Wars thing, because I watched this yesterday with my wife and former podcast guest
Yeah.
Rachel Fraser, whom your audience knows and loves. Rachel has the weirdest Star Wars watching history. She's seen every Star Wars film except the original trilogy.
What?
Yeah. So let's
completely insane.
let's call that the Fraser order.
Fraser order is just you skip the original trilogy.
Yeah,
The
so,
77.
so there were brilliant moments where I had to be like, and so Luke and Leia, they're siblings, and they, spoiler for Empire Strikes Back, they are Darth Vader's children.
She's like, who's Darth Vader?
Yeah, she's like, I know Anakin Skywalker, but this Darth Vader.
She's like,
person?
they're Padme's kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's like
That's
some crazy chaos
incredible.
nonsense. Okay, but okay. When did you fall in love with Rian Johnson? You're not painting a picture
Yeah, sorry.
of a director that is your favorite.
Yes.
You're like, well, a bunch of his movies, I'm like, eh.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I want you to go on a journey with me. So,
That's-
We're going on the journey to show.
Yeah, so it wasn't love at first sight.
Yes.
What really sold me on Rian Johnson was the first Knives Out.
Right. Yeah.
For various reasons. I mean, I think it's an almost perfect film. And I also I am a nerdy puzzle kind of person. I never got into science fiction. I never got into fantasy. That just wasn't my jam growing up. I never read a ton of sci-fi. Watched a bunch of those films.
I'm so surprised by this.
I know.
You're a lover of prog rock.
I am a lover of prog rock.
I always thought like you had to be into Dungeons and Dragons if you were into prog rock.
I have never once in my life played Dungeons.
so awesome.
I can't even articulate it. That's,
Yeah.
that's how little I
You're
thought
like,
about D&D.
Dragons and what now? But you do love mysteries.
I
Yes,
do love
mysteries,
mysteries.
yeah.
I grew up reading Agatha Christie and Sherlock Holmes and all of those things.
As soon as I did not know this about because I was like, Tushar, you love Rian Johnson. Let's do some philosophy of physics. We'll do Looper. It's time travel. But what I should have thought, not know it, I guess I just didn't know you well enough. I should have been like, Tushar, you're a lover of Rian Johnson. You love mysteries. Pick one of the Knives Out movies and we'll do it. And anyway, we'll have you on for one of the Knives Out movies.
Okay, hot take on Knives Out. Greatest film trilogy of all time.
Yeah, I love it. Tushar's just coming in fight. He's like, Star Wars? Not even on the map.
He's like making fart noise. He's like,
Yeah. He's like, okay, so hold on. What trilogies do you rank above Star Wars? You've got to put a bunch over Star Wars, right? I want to get more
Godfather. Where
So another hot
Jaws
take.
trilogy.
Godfather.
Oh.
First Godfather, absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything else after that.
Oh, you're not
Give
like
it
one
a
of those people
miss.
who's like the second one's a masterpiece.
Sorry,
No.
nobody.
The second one
Everyone
is-
is just
am I-
stop pushing
am I
stop
losing
on this
credibility?
podcast
Yeah,
right now. They're
no.
like, what is he going to say next
I love
about
this.
Looper? No, it's true chaos energy. Tushar, I love it. Because I think with the movie like Looper, I'm not sure if it's as polarizing as any of these other movies. Like it's not like people are like, I'm absolutely in love with The Godfather. I don't know if there's anyone who's like, my favorite movie is Looper. So I think we're on good grounds going into this. But anyway, so what's your favorite of the Knives Out movie?
I think this might be recency bias. I think it's the most recent
The
one.
most recent
Yeah.
one. Yeah. Wake Up Dead Man.
Wake Up Dead Man.
Yeah, that one was great. I mean, the Glass Onion one is the weakest.
It's the weakest, but it's the weakest of a very, very strong trilogy in my view.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's so the first Knives Out really, really sort of kind of brought Rian Johnson sort of into my life. And then I really, really enjoyed Poker Face.
Oh right, yes, that's right.
And
Yeah.
what I enjoyed about Poker Face is it was the sort of realization that there is a Rian Johnson brand, there's a Rian Johnson aesthetic, and there's a Rian Johnson style, and so we can now have Rian Johnson franchises, and like each episode of Poker Face is like a bit of it's got its own flavor, but it's basically Rian Johnson corporate has ultimate oversight, and I just love that. He's super interested in puzzles. I love puzzles. And I think, I don't know, one of the nice things about being invited on this podcast is it gave me a chance to just actually try to crystallize some of these sorts of amorphous feelings that I had about Rian Johnson. And I think one of the things that I appreciate about post Star Wars Rian Johnson is if you go up to someone and say, look, I love puzzles, what genre of novel or film should I watch? No one's going to say, or very few people are going to say space opera, right? They're going to say, well, murder mysteries. Just go read an Agatha Christie, or go read, Gaston Leroux or whatever. And I think as a young filmmaker, there's a lot of energy in Rian Johnson trying to be like, look, I like puzzles, but I'm going to invoke certain generic tropes that you wouldn't expect. And I'm going to, and he invokes them in various ways that are really interesting. And I've got lots to say about that. But I think there's a purity about post Star Wars Rian Johnson, where he's just like, puzzles, Agatha Christie style,
This is what I
locked
love.
room mysteries. Yeah. This is what I love. And my God, has he just knocked these out of the park. So, I will be sad if the only thing he does for the next several years is Knives Out. I'd like to see him go back and do something Brick-like as a one-off, and then just give me, what are there, like 90 Agatha Christie's? Come on, Ryan, give me another 87 Knives Out films.
Yeah. Well, we'll have you back for a mystery movie of your choice. I wish I had known that about you. I think when I maybe I did know that, but I also
we had this conversation at Christmas when we talked about Wake Up Dead Man.
I guess that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So I forgot that about Tushar. So okay, I want to turn to Looper now in particular. So here's the basic plot of Looper, and then I think we should jump into, I guess, the time travel of it all. But so in the future, 2044, Joe, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, is a looper. What that means is he is a contract killer. He stands outside of a wheat field, and then a person appears. He shoots them. It turns out they're being sent back from the future because in the future, disposing of a body is very difficult.
Yeah.
So they have to time travel. They have illegal time travel technology that they zap bodies back.
So that he can burn them.
So then he can kill them and dispose of them. The reason they're called loopers is because they eventually have to kill themselves for some unknown reason. The Rainmaker in the future has decided that it's easier to kill them than to deal with them potentially, I guess, giving up his evil reign. And so anyway, they send them back, and eventually they send back themselves, and they kill themselves, and then they get a big payout. He hesitates when his future self appears before him and is knocked out by his future self, and his future self is loose, and it's up to Joe to find him and close the loop or not. Anyway, and that's the rough outline of the plot of Looper. Okay, so Tushar, let's talk about time travel, and then Laura, feel free to tell us your views on the physics of time travel. I'm sorry. We have a philosopher of physics here. You can tell. Okay, but so
I plan to be taking a nap while you guys explain time travel, and then I'll tell me when I can just pop back up again.
So what? Give us the philosophy 101 on the possibility of time travel. I mean, I guess we don't have to necessarily do the grandfather paradox, but let's think about different ways of modeling time travel, and on some of those ways, this movie doesn't really make any sense. Anyway, go ahead.
Everybody get out their straws.
Yeah, get out your straws, folks, because this is a philosophy podcast.
We're making some diagrams,
we're
y'all.
gonna diagram it.
Okay, so before that, so is this straw thing a reference that I missed? Because when you talk about time travel stuff, you pick up a napkin and you draw stuff. Where do straws come into this?
I don't know.
Who models time travel with straws? I have never seen anyone model time travel with straws.
It is true the way he throws it off. He's like, we'd be here all day with our straws.
Yeah.
Obviously.
It immediately worked for me. I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, can I just, at least when I was growing, also, most straws weren't bendy. So you can't model time travel with straws. You can model the actual world moving forward with a straight straw. It's like, what? Yeah, I don't understand. Okay.
These are all good points. But old Joe kind of a dingus and doesn't understand or care about time travel either. So he obviously doesn't understand why straws are not the ideal format.
That's true. I've got to say though, there are lots of references to other time travel films. There's Terminator.
Yes.
What I appreciate about Looper is that it made a reference to time travel film that was in its future, it did the Tenet thing of don't worry about the physics.
Yes.
And only Looper could pull that
Just
off. So,
feel
so
it.
well done, Ryan.
The film depicts two possible ways things could go. The first, so almost immediately after showing Joe confronting his future self and the future self escaping, this is Bruce Willis and Joe Gore. It shows us the same event, except that time Bruce Willis is reversed and he's shot in the back. He's shot. Yeah,
No, the second time around they show what happened the first time round, so to speak.
Yeah. So exactly. And so they show him being shot.
Yeah.
And that is, and then go on and live this life. So the film, one might argue, is contradictory in that it depicts the same, one thing happening and also not happening. It depicts him shooting himself and also not shooting himself. So then here's the question: well, did he shoot himself in that time? And so one might think the film is contradictory. That's like one way of looking at this. It's like a logical contradiction. Something and its negation are true. If you're thinking, we talked about time travel before on this podcast. We've talked about sort of if you think of everything that there is as just a static 4-dimensional hunk space-time, then there's, in some sense, there's no way that things can you can replay the same event, do things differently. So this doesn't make any sense. And so on this notion of time travel, the film is depicting something which is impossible. So I was thinking that there are ways though of thinking about time travel in a slightly different way. We did talk about this briefly in Terminator 2, but I'm going to mention it again. So there's this interesting article by Peter Van Inwagen called "Changing the Past," and basically what he says in that article is here's a model of how time could be that would allow you to change the past. So think of it roughly like this. So everything that there is dynamically expanding in time. And so you could think of not a static block, 4-dimensional block, but a sort of growing 4-dimensional block. It's growing in the temporal dimension. And now distinguish the times as they appear within the block, like moments of time in the block, from a notion of time that's outside of the block, which we call metatime. So initially, the sort of object times in the blocks coincide with, there might be like 1 second of block time is 1 second of metatime, and they're just in lockstep. But then when time travel occurs, Van Inwagen says what happens is the block shrinks down, so its future is destroyed down to a point at which the past person has traveled. So they sort of destroy everything. So in the case of Looper, Bruce Willis time travels from 2074 in block time to 2044 in block time. So just imagine like metatime keeps going. So if you were at 2074 metatime, the next moment in metatime would be 2075. I mean, not whatever, next year.
Mm-hmm.
But that is now coinciding with 2044 in block time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now you can distinguish the first pass of block time 2044 from the second pass of block time 2044. The first time takes place in metatime 2044, and the second time takes place in metatime 2074 or whatever. Okay, so that will allow you then. Now there's no logical contradiction between young Joe shoots old Joe in 2044 metatime, and young Joe doesn't shoot old Joe in 2044. That's the second one is the metatime, the second pass. Okay, so there's no contradiction there, and I think insofar as we can think of this as a sort of coherent picture of time, you can make sense of at least some of what's going on in the film, because you can make sense of people changing the past, for example. So like in this version of the film, you could tell the story of Looper like this. As you put it, Tushar, the thing that we are watching initially is actually the second pass through of events of Joe's life. The first pass through is what we see in the montage where he shoots his former self. Actually, I would even argue that there's even a pass before that where he doesn't shoot himself because he has to there has to be a causal source for the future guy who comes back. So the causal source has to precede. So there has to be a pass through where no one shows up there, basically, where he never closes his loop. He goes to the future. Now that guy's the causal source for the one that we see in the movie and the montage. Then that guy goes through in the montage. So it's the at least third iteration of Joe that we're seeing in the non-montage structure of the film. That's the third version that's coming back, confronting, the initial one again, I guess. So, okay. So that I think can be made sense of. And Tushar, anything you want to add to that?
No,
picture?
that was great.
Yeah.
What I should say is I'm a philosopher of physics. I don't actually do a whole, I should just advertise. I do teach a course at MIT called Paradox and Infinity where we do talk about time travel. So I shouldn't say this is not something that I think a lot about. I think about it quite a lot. What I will say is everything that Justin said is absolutely kosher. I defer to Justin on metaphysics. The relationship between physics and metaphysics.
That's why we had you here.
That's why we have all these straws here.
That's right. Tushar brought a whole bunch of straws. I don't know why. Some of them are shaped in like weird ways. Some of them bend and some don't.
Yeah, we're just gonna build up a straw man.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh wow.
Okay, but here's the thing I think is really interesting about the film, and this leads to one of I think your favorite sequences in the film, which is Paul Dano's character, who he's the first guy who fails to close the loop, and he comes over to Joe's apartment, and Jay's like, "Oh my god, I screwed up. My loop came back, and I hesitated. I couldn't kill him. You got to hide me." Okay, Joe ends up giving up his friend, Paul Dano. Seth, I think is his name.
Seth.
And
his
best friend, and
well,
gives him up to the evil organization. I forgot. Do we know what they're called? The like mob or whatever that's run by Jeff Daniels, the GAT crew or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, so he gives them up because he wants his silver. They're threatening to take his silver. And then we see Paul Dano's older self running around, and he's slowly like his fingers are going out of existence.
Oh yeah, the old Back to the Future mechanic.
Except that in Back to the Future, he's just indiscriminately going out of existence. Like, but the fingers are going out, the nose is going out because they are in the process of dismembering Paul Dano.
Paul Dano, in my opinion, his finest performance.
Okay, so I just wanted to
Paul Dano corner.
Paul Dano corner.
We'll get to causation later.
As there's a certain filmmaker whose work I hope we never cover on this podcast, Justin, who said some very unkind things about Paul Dano.
Now we're just gonna spit fire at everyone.
Yeah, well, listen.
Look, I don't want to get caught. I don't want to get caught in the podcast crossfire.
It's fine. I'm just saying that.
You like Paul Dano. He's a good guy.
I think Paul Dano is exquisitely good at being somebody you want to punch so bad. Like just from like the minute he's there screaming at somebody not to touch a stupid like hover bike, you're just like, this fucking guy. And he's always like whiny and snotty and high pitched. And like, I think he's really, 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 really good at it. I think he knows his lane. And I want to just like, Paul Dano.
Where are you on Paul
Shout
Dano?
out.
Strongly second that. I think. As I said, I think his performance might be my favorite one in this whole film.
He's so good.
Oh wow,
at this
that's
movie.
awesome. Yeah.
He's terrific. It is peak Paul Dano.
Yeah.
It's a toss up between this and what was the GameStop film that he was in? I really loved him in that as well.
I never saw that
Dumb
one.
Money.
Dumb Money.
I thought he was good. Yeah, it goes Looper, Dumb Money, There Will Be Blood. And any podcaster who disagrees with that, I don't know whom you could possibly be talking about, but anyone who disagrees with that.
Not a podcaster, a filmmaker.
I think you're right though. I mean, Paul Dano, he's doing what he's told. He's doing the job.
Yeah.
Not what he's told. I mean, he's not just like executing what he's told, but he's doing the character that he needs to be playing. And I think if like you're like, I don't like this character, well, fine, but you're not supposed to like the character.
You're not supposed to like the character, and I think he's really good at being unlikable. I think he's really good at being pathetic. I think like that moment when Joe goes to the sex worker and is like, I just gave up my best friend. You're like, oh no, Seth is your best friend.
Like, yeah, I know. That's really sad.
You're so lonely.
This dude's life sucks. We'll come back to Joe's life and his best friend, Seth, who is a total loser. But he can levitate coins.
But like, what is other options? Like Kid Blue? Like,
Kid Blue, the
Kid
guy
Blue?
with the long
Friends with?
hair. We see that other long-haired guy for
Long-haired
a
guy
while.
who can also TK.
He can also TK.
Oh, there's also Jesse, whom he seems to actually have some respect for. The guy
Yes.
whose heart explodes. And
Yeah.
Yes. The
Yeah,
guy.
yeah,
the
yeah.
best moment of the film, in my
Yeah,
view.
that's a great moment.
Yeah.
Garrett
But-
Dillahunt.
What do I do? You're the only friend I got. Joe, you gotta help me. Fucking idiot coming here. You can't be here. I'll give you some money, that's it, then you gotta... Joe, a little money? Where am I gonna go? You hop a freight train, you beat it the hell out of time. Oh!
All right, I want to just go back to, so we're just to finish the time travel
Paul Dano's
thing.
being dismembered.
He's being dismembered. Now, you might say, okay, but this is incoherent because, of course, what happened? Well, you got old Paul Dano, who in 2074 had 5 fingers on his hand. And he, so there was a period of time between 2044 and 2074 where the young Paul Dano had all 5 fingers on his hand, presumably, and he went and he lived that life, and he had 5 fingers in 2074. He sent back. So why is chopping off Paul Dano in 2044's finger causing in 2044 Paul Dano older to have 1 fewer finger? I mean, this is weird, and I think, but I want to say that this is, as far as I can tell, not logically inconsistent. It's just weird. It's a weird kind of causation where there's no where the causal source of Dano, I forgot his name, Seth in 2044, old Seth in 2044. Remember, that's his second pass through 2044. Having 4 fingers, the causal source of that is in some sense himself in 2044, but also in another sense not, because it's himself passing through it a different time, who, if he survives, will go on to be a sort of
old
older
Seth.
version who's not who's not the causal source of the, you might think, the properties of the one who already had come back. So if you're thinking in this metatime way, you can index these guys by their metatime locations, and the source of it would not be the Paul Dano in the time when older Paul Dano comes back, but in fact the earlier Paul Dano, that is the one who had been in the earlier past.
Yeah, I mean, that's one way to do it. If you want to hold on to the idea that, fine, we're adding this extra bit of metaphysics, this meta time, but everything with respect to ordinary time kind of proceeds as it does in the actual world. And then you have to go through this, and you have to imagine some kind of recalcitrant sort of causal metaphysics or whatever. You could do that.
Yeah.
Or you could just have, I mean, if you're only interested in, like, logical consistency is incredibly cheap.
It's weak.
Not difficult to, our good friend and colleague, Jack Spencer, I mean, this is not about logical consistency, but he has a line that I love where he says, "You're only ever one premise away from a valid argument." Like, logic is weak.
Yes.
And so logical consistency is not, like, we've already spent too much time on logical consistency, but just to finish this, so what I will say is, so if you want to hold on to this metatime, this Van Inwagen metatime picture, and you want to hold on to this kind of everyday intuitive idea of sort of the continuity of causal links and whatever, I think that's going to be difficult. You're going to have to do something like what Justin suggested, and that's going to be a bit strange. Maybe a bit less strange, I don't know, is to just actually have the time travel drop out of the story that you want to tell, right? So I can imagine, this is perfectly logically coherent. I can imagine a world in which there is something that identifies to the laws of physics the identity of Justin and me.
Mm-hmm.
And there are interactions that are specific to just Justin and me. So like when Justin writes something on his arm, it turns up on my arm. Like my skin cells rearrange themselves in such a way as to turn up on my arm. Similarly, my brain chemistry is altered in such a way that there are new memories that are created, right? It'd be really weird. It would be foreshadowing. It'd be like a Force dyad, perhaps.
Wow, what a connection to The Last Jedi.
But it, that's another way you could go,
Totally.
right? The world's your oyster. If you're only worried about logical consistency, then I really envy you. That's a nice life.
It's funny because I think like there's I don't know anything about philosophy but I have like some sense of this can't happen, so I say it's contradictory. And then there's the like, I know a little bit about philosophy, and I think everything's contradictory, you know, because it sort of goes against some metaphysical picture I have. And we've been pushing back against that and saying, like, look, like, no, contradictions are tough to come by. And it's actually a big open question whether films and fictions in general can even depict or make fictionally true contradictions. That's a you know, a question that remains open. It seems like this film is not contradictory. We've argued that there's a metaphysics that makes sense of it consistently. Now, whether that metaphysics is true or plausible is another story.
It's deeply implausible,
yeah.
right? So
yeah. So, but that's the situation, you know, that we're in. And so I think setting now that aside, I think you can make sense of what's going on in the movie. And I think one of the things I really like about this movie is that I think Johnson then uses this as a sort of playground to explore these ideas that I think he's, you know, himself thinking about. One of which is the idea that as we grow older, we change. We're changing in response to various life events and things that we go through. And when you look back on your life, there's this obvious incredible temptation to always think like, well, Mick, I could have done that differently. You know, how am I not the person I thought I would be? You know, how have I let down my own ideals? And he uses this idea to just like, he uses the film to just dramatize this by saying he literalizes it. Like, so you get to confront your future self and in a way, like have a fight with him. It's a little bit like, to draw the connection to Tenet, it's a little bit like what is happening with Tenet, where the generations are fighting, except this one, the two generations are two generations of yourself, which is kind of cool.
All right, listen. I know this is a hard situation for you, but we both know how this has to go down. I can't let you walk away from this diner alive. This is my life now. I earned it. You had yours already. So why don't you do what old men do and die? Get the fuck out of my way.
Why don't you just take your little gun out between your legs and do it? Boy.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think I do appreciate that as a reading. I had a slightly different sort of reading on sort of what the kind of central sort of claim of the film was.
Yeah, good, yeah.
Okay, so we were speaking about this a little bit earlier. I think the reason that I've struggled with this film over the years is because I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's a beautifully directed film. It's really fun to watch. I got really swept up when we watched it again the other day.
Yeah.
And then I think about it for a little while. And there's something that just doesn't feel quite right in a way that seems kind of deeply unfixable. And I think the reason for that is the thing that I think works the best about the film is also ultimately the thing that grounds what I like the least about the film. And so I do appreciate I like the idea of thinking of this as like an exploration of sort of your views on on what got you to a particular point, on your past self, and whether you can change things. But on the thing about changing the past, I saw this much more as a film that was interested in the question about whether you can break out from particular cycles of behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think, look, that's not a hot take. I think I think that's like the most obvious read on the film. But what I really like about about what Rian Johnson did over here, and he did a sort of similar thing in Brick as well, in a way that I'll come to in a second, is it doesn't give you this world with a bunch of rules and then imagine you chuck a bunch of people in there and see how they would react to the world being that way, which is the way that most time travel films work, right? I think, so 12 Monkeys is one of my favorite time travel films, and 12 Monkeys is fantastic because it's just like, here's this world, now look at how it just like fucks up like, how does psychology react to like knowledge of the future or something like that, right? And so it seems like the driving force of the plot there is like the world that's created, and then we have the characters, like seeing how the characters respond to it. I like to think of Looper as kind of going the other way around. Like, Rian Johnson is interested in the sorts of questions that Justin and I were talking about, and then thinks, okay, well, here's this old literary device, right? The pathetic fallacy, right? We'll have like the inner turmoil or the inner sort of life of a character being reflected in his in their surroundings, in their settings. Oh, but here's what we can do in cinema. We can take pathetic fallacy sort of to 11 and build it into just the mechanics of the world. And so the kind of the emotional logic of the world around, like, is it possible? Is it psychologically possible to change? Now turns into like a metaphysical question. Like, is it metaphysically possible to change, to change yourself, to change? And I think this is one of the things that I really like about the early, like the non-pure puzzle box Rian Johnson films, is the fact that he's sort of playing with genre expectations. I think a lot of people read him as like trying to subvert genre expectations various ways. And I think that's an effect of the thing that he's really doing well, which is he's borrowing from certain generic conventions the resources that allow you to render or dramatize particular questions in really interesting ways, right? So he does this in Brick as well, right? So Brick is ultimately, it's a high school film, right? It's the stakes in a high school film are really low, right? It's like, oh, who's saying what about whom?
Doesn't feel that way in high school.
This is exactly my point, right? When you're in high school, it's just like, it feels like life or death.
Yeah.
So what's another thing that feels like life or death? Oh, hard-boiled, neo-noir detective stuff. So let me do a high school film, but inherit the genre expectations such that I can now set up the stakes in such a way as to really get across like how much this means to the characters. I thought Brick was brilliant for doing that, and I think it really it sort of works and it follows through on the promise of that. I think Looper kind of I don't want to say fails, but stumbles a bit. But I think it's doing a thing that's not dissimilar, right? It's taking instead of taking the sort of inner turmoil or whatever of characters and expressing it with respect to different genre conventions, it's now expressing it with respect to like a different logic of the physics in the world.
Yeah.
And then seeing how it plays out.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like that. I mean, why doesn't it work as well for you? Is it that with Brick, the genre is able to sort of, I don't know, capitalize on this, on the emotions in the way that you wanted, and in Looper, the metaphysics is just like too cold or something. So like, what is it that's not working?
Yeah, that's a good question. So okay, let me see if I can work through this. So I think the problem with Looper is you kind of can't have your cake and eat it too. There is such a tight tether between what you might call the emotional logic and the physical logic of the world, that in order for there to be emotional stakes in such a way that you feel, in such a way that I would feel satisfied at the resolution or whatever, I would need to understand like what the consequences of particular sorts of actions are. And you can set up the emotional stakes in a world where they're divorced from the emotional logic, in a world that's divorced from the physical logic, and then not say much about the physical logic. And it's fine because there's a sort of hopefully a good sort of internally coherent logic of like, this person did this because of this and whatever. But in Looper, I think the problem is, and with spoilers for the end, I think when young Joe kills himself in order to achieve the thing that he needs to achieve, in order to get the sort of emotional resolution, I don't know what that means for the world. And it's not in a sort of interestingly ambiguous kind of way. It's not in a, I understand the rules of the world, but I don't have enough information about specific things in the world, so I can believe that thing A happened or thing B happened, and there's an ambiguity there. There's a kind of deeper, like a structural ambiguity where I'm just like, well, I don't know if he's prevented this kid from becoming the Rainmaker. I don't know how, like, within this world, how much weight I'm supposed to put on various kinds of actions that happen, in part because I just don't know the time travel mechanics. So that's why we need the straws.
Yeah.
And I'm disappointed that we don't have the straws.
I think that, I think the movie does leave it open, but it does suggest that this is changing in that because that Sid is not going to be the Rainmaker, in the sense that there's all this stuff about Emily Blunt's character talks about. She's constantly talking about like her arc in the film is kind of coming to terms with the fact that she had abandoned Sid to like because she had him too young, I guess, and she went and like partied or whatever and left him with her sister, and she needed to like reconcile with him. And so the movie's sort of setting us up to think that, okay, if she never reconciles with Sid and ends up dying at the hands of Bruce Willis or whatever, he becomes the Rainmaker because he like thinks that she's some effectively imposter who's raised, you're not his real mom, etc. But I think the movie suggests at the end, in the last shot, I think is her with Sid, that she, by reconciling, by being like, oh, I fucked up, like I need to, be better to him or whatever, be more present as a mom to him or whatever, that she will, and because she says this explicitly, like, I can help him control it or whatever, he won't become the Rainmaker. I think the film is suggesting that, even though it doesn't, of course, entail it.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I think the last shot of the film is just on Sid's face with the bandage from where he was shot, and they mentioned much earlier in the film that the Rainmaker has a prosthetic jaw or something like that.
Yes.
I assume the prosthetic jaw is from that.
Yes.
And so insofar as that's happened in this world as well,
That's true.
It's and I think,
but
I think it's got. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think it's got the seeds of. I think it's got all the formal trappings of like the good kind of ambiguity, but because you can have the formal trappings of a good kind of ambiguity and invoke a kind of shared metaphysics of shared logic for what goes underneath in normal circumstances, I think that kind of thing would work. I think if you take that away, then merely having the formal trappings of a good kind of ambiguity is not sufficient.
Yeah. Oh, the other thing I was going to say is that so when Bruce Willis is talking about the Rainmaker to Joe Gore at the diner, at Beatrix's diner, he says this very quickly. He says he has a prosthetic jaw and he saw his mom get shot. That's what he says. So the film does, I mean, it's very fast, but the film does, by having Bruce Willis not shoot Emily Blunt, there is this, again, it's not explicit, but like there is some suggestion that like the cycle of violence.
And he said shot, didn't say his mom died. Shot. Okay, yeah, because he saw Sarah's sister die because
he killed her.
He killed her
by just losing control of his TK power.
Mad.
Anyway, I have a slightly different complaint about the movie. A movie I should also say I quite enjoyed. And I'll say it in the positive first and then the negative. The positive, I think, so this is a film. It's doing a lot of different things, but one of the things it's doing is it's doing the kind of the thing that everyone thinks about when they think about time travel is like, oh, not the grandfather paradox, though you do think about that, but you also think about going back and killing baby Hitler.
Yeah. Okay,
so you got to go back. He's this evil guy. We got to go stop World War II and prevent all the evils and all that. But this film explicitly depicts Bruce Willis killing a child.
Yeah.
And that is hardcore. That's really, and I have to give the movie much praise for not shying away from it.
Yeah.
He is Bruce Willis's character is evil in this movie, and like irredeemably evil. He murders an innocent child. He does not kill the Rainmaker. He kills some other kid who he's like, man, might be the Rainmaker. Good enough for me.
1 out of 3. Yeah.
Now it depicts him as clearly, he's not like showing no emotions here. But anyway, he does this really bad thing. And I think I appreciate that the film doesn't shy away from that. That's the positive. The negative is that I do not understand his motivations. And I think this goes a little bit to what you were getting at, Tushar, is like, he seems to think that by killing the Rainmaker, he will prevent his wife from dying. And so, okay, fair enough, maybe. I don't know. Again, we don't know for sure. But the other thing is like, we don't see enough of this to care at all about this lady. We're like, and also we're told he's only known her for 3 years. Like, yeah, she stopped him from being an addict or whatever, but like he's murdering children. Like, I don't know. Granted, would I kill a kid for you, Laura? But I've known you for more than 3 years. So anyway, but
that's okay.
But the point is though, just
was that merely rhetorical, or is there an answer to that?
it was just rhetorical. I'm not killing any kids, okay,
Yeah.
folks. But anyway, and it's not just that. Like, I feel like character motivations in this are kind of all over the map. I mean, Joe Gore's character, what are his motivations? Now, granted, you could say maybe that's like part of who this character is supposed to be. He's lost. He doesn't know what he wants. I think the closest thing I can understand to his character is he's a guy who like is waiting for his opportunity to do some big grand gesture. And so he gets it with like protecting Emily Blunt, and that's like what he wants. But like, besides that, I can't figure out like what gives me, what's juicing him up, like what is getting, what motivates him to do anything. And so I think there's a little bit of a, like, I feel in this case, like a little bit of a lack of motivation. So these characters are kind of end up becoming, I don't know, just like archetypes. Like this guy's the guy who wants to come back, and this guy's like, I don't like you. I don't know. Do you care about these characters, Laura?
I don't know, but I'm also not so bothered by it. I was just laughing to myself because I was thinking about like Joe being like, I'm going to France, and Jeff Daniels' character is like, you should go to China. He's like, no, I'm going to go to France. He's like, no, I'm from the future. You should go to China. And like,
No, he says, I'm from the future.
yeah, I'm from the future. Heavy sigh.
That's my favorite character.
Jeff Daniels is incredible in this, but
Abe.
but you wonder, okay, where did Joe Gore get like fixated on France? Probably something dumb, because he's a very simple, like he's a bit like he saw a picture or
to
something.
be honest, it was probably Susie, the prostitute he goes to see, was probably like, France is really nice. And so,
he's just like, cool, I'm going to glom onto that. Yeah. But that doesn't seem to bother you. Like when we watch Thief and he's like, I have decided that you be my wife now because I put it on picture.
No, but like
I put picture.
But the thing with Thief
that's
is
my life.
But the thing with Thief is there's a very clear off-camera backstory that's just totally present, and you can see it seeping through the frames, that this guy, he's like been to prison 4 times. He knows all these people. Like he's been cultivating over years. You just feel that this is like a lived-in character.
Yeah.
Joe Gore feels like a blank slate. No,
yeah.
I think that's by design.
I think it's by design.
But I think it alienates me as a viewer from him.
But I think like when there are these little tidbits that he reveals that like you see how empty he is, how lonely he is, and how lost he is. I think when he tells Susie that Seth is his best friend, I mean, that's tough.
The confessions to Susie are very revealing.
Yeah. And the fact that he's so fixated on Susie.
Yeah,
and
he's like, I'm going to pay you out. And you
she's
can
like,
go away.
I'm all good. Thanks, though.
Yeah.
Like, you're just a guy to me. You're a client.
You're a client.
I got other gigs. Like, and somebody bought me for tonight. Like, so bye.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like he thinks she's his girlfriend.
And she does not.
Even though she's a sex worker.
And she doesn't seem to have any, like, she can be his girlfriend and be a sex worker, but she's not.
No,
like, she feels nothing towards him except for that he's a client. And then, like, when he talks to Sid and he's explaining a little bit about his story, and he uses, is it Arthur? What's the name of Jeff Daniels' character?
Abe,
excuse me. I had an A in my head. He uses Abe's exact words. He could put a gun in my hand and gave me something that's mine. Mm-hmm. He doesn't really, he's just aping what other people say because he has no idea of his own identity. Mm-hmm. And, like, he's really, really lost. Yeah, so I feel puppy. There are moments like that give me a lot of empathy for how sad and alone and scared he is and doesn't know what to do, that allows me to feel like he's an empty character, and it is by design, and I also feel really sad for him.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you some money. I've been stashing my silver for years. I'm gonna give you half of it. You can raise your kid right.
You want to give me half your silver? Silver's got strings. I got my job. You got yours. It's sweet of you to worry about me, but I'm doing fine. Why don't we just stick to services rendered?
I don't know how much of this is also just down to the excessive prosthetics and makeup.
That's tough too.
I feel like the entire first half of the film,
you can't stop looking at him.
His character is defined as person who will become Bruce Willis.
Yeah. I totally agree. I mean, I think honestly, if you want to compare characters in this film who are pathetic and I feel weirdly more emotionals for, it's that Kid Blue guy.
Kid Blue.
Noah Segal, he's fantastic.
Yeah, because he has this moment with Abe where he's like, I can't remember exactly what he says, but he says something to the effect of like, I just wanted your approval. Just says it outright as he takes away his gun and then smashes his hand.
I know.
It's like, I just feel like that level of, you get it a little bit with Joe Gore, but he's so wooden. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's generally the complaint about Joe Gore as an actor, generally, that is a little wooden. I think sometimes it's used to good effect, and sometimes maybe it's less used to good effect. Yeah, Kid Blue, so funny.
Kid Blue is great.
Just like the way he's like twirling that gun around, and then he immediately gets bonked on the head, and then everybody makes a joke about how did you shoot your other foot? It's so funny. I looked him up. I was like, where have I seen that guy? And the answer is every Ryan Johnson film. Movie. Yeah. Every single one. Yeah.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I know that it's his cameo in Brothers Bloom is like literally one pan across.
Oh, really?
It's him and
Joe Gore.
Joe Gore? Is
we
that
call him
what?
Joe Gore.
Joe Gore. All right.
Joe Gore is also in the party scene.
I feel like in the party scene. Yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like I don't know him well enough to call him that, so I will call him Mr. Gordon-Levitt.
Mr. Gordon.
Well,
Levitt, yeah.
hit record Joe is he's asking us to call him Joe. So sorry.
Is your favorite Joe Gore performance The Walk?
Shut up. Why would that be the case? That's just mean.
Oh, bonjour.
Oh, bonjour. I didn't see you
Have
there.
you seen The Walk?
I have, yeah.
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 It's not my favorite performance is Third Rock from the Sun, which
Third
I haven't
Rock.
seen since I was like 12.
I mean, if we're getting
I'm not
doing that
actually.
era, like 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh, yeah. That
He's
makes-
perfect in 10 Things I Hate About You, I think. I quite like him. I think maybe that's why I had Arthur in my head. He's good in Inception because
yeah.
he's wooden. I think they
Yeah.
use it so well.
Like, they play some jokes off of him.
Yeah,
which is
I
good.
think he and Tom Hardy are having a good time. And he's a good stick in the mud. He does that well, I think, actually.
Tushar, what did you think of this? So you said you still thought, even with some of the issues you had with the movie, that it was well directed. I mean, what did you think of the world building? That was something I was really digging on this time.
Yeah. So I thought it was super interesting. I mean, the fact that most of the furniture in 2044, the furniture and appliances and cars and stuff in 2044, kind of feel outdated in 2012 from like when the actual film was made. I mean, this is clearly an intentional choice, and I think, I mean, we spoke about this when we watched. I think there is this kind of timelessness to the maybe not a quite timelessness, but a kind of interesting temporal ambiguity around technology.
Right. Yeah, because he has like a record player. I thought it was interesting how technology, like sort of future tech, is sort of peppered in. So, for example,
They
like,
got the little tiny phones.
Yeah.
little phones, but he has got a record. They have folding phones.
Yeah.
But he has a record player that like looks futuristic.
Yeah.
Like, so that's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like an old and new thing.
Yeah,
They
and his
also
thing
have-
is that he likes old, like he
likes
has
old
this
stuff.
fetishization
He's like a 20th
of like
century
the
guy.
20th century.
Yeah,
right?
I mean that
Yeah.
does feel a little bit like the kind of thing you'd put in your first script when you have no budget, but you want to do a future, like
Smart.
a science
Yeah,
fiction
yeah,
thing
yeah,
set
yeah.
100 years in the future, and be like, well, my character happens to want to dress exclusively like someone with not a lot of money in 1987.
Loves things that are analog.
I mean, what car does he drive? He's like an older car.
Oh yeah,
Like a
isn't it? It's
Mazda
like
or
a
something.
Mazda Miata or
Yeah,
something like
something
that.
like that.
Oh.
And it's interesting because other characters, so when he drives up, Seth has just bought one of those hover bikes.
I know, but
And
they
he
don't
can't get
work,
it-
and everybody
he
makes
can't
fun
get
of
it to
him.
start. He was like, I wanted to pull up at the club with this, floating my coin. It's so
Seth is such a
your
dingus.
favorite character.
I love him.
I love the idea. I love the idea that maybe at some point in the past, Emily Blunt's character Sarah, who is telekinetic,
Yes.
has been hit on by Seth.
Yes.
And Seth is the person whose eyes bled trying to levitate the
That
coin.
makes-
She's
that
just
makes
keeping
perfect
that
sense.
quarter down. Nice pull. It was a red Mazda Miata.
Miata.
Yeah,
Nicely done.
that's right.
I only know this because I recently bought a car and I have not yet got out of watching car reviews.
You're still in the car
I'm
review
still in the
zone.
car review zone, but it's not even. It's reviews of cars like the Mazda Miata. It's
Yeah.
not like, okay, well, I've got this sort of very sensible,
Yes.
401k on wheels, very responsible. Kind of,
401k on wheels.
But and so you might think, okay, well now what I'm going to do is like, let's look at the aspirational cars. But no, I just want to look at all the other cars that are slightly more expensive but less good than the one that I've got. And so that's
so
that's
you
what
can
my
like
YouTube,
feel good about
so I can
that.
feel good about my
Yeah.
decision.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like-
I see.
Just
like-
used to do that with real estate for a while.
Oh, I mean, it's so difficult not to do that. It's just
Yeah.
like, it's like I do still look at I look. This is maybe too much information, but like I look at the ETFs in my 401k and I think, well, I've got more money than people who invested in Bitcoin.
That's true. Justin lost at least $50
on some Bitcoin.
on some Bitcoin or so whatever.
Oh,
It's-
I'm sorry. I didn't know. I didn't mean to.
That's
open
okay.
It was
that
at
wound.
least $50.
It was yeah. He put in some, and then every morning Justin would wake up and go, "It's a bad day to invest in cryptocurrency."
We didn't invest very much money. And it was a while ago. And also, had I just kept that money probably would have been fine. But I sold it because I was like, whatever. I don't need
What,
this.
Yeah,
to buy GameStop stock to bring it back to Paul Dano.
I probably sold it to buy a camera, to be honest. Here's another thing I like about this movie. So there's these cool drugs, and they have this cool trippy drug thing
Yeah.
moment where they're getting high and driving around. Set to was it Nathan Johnson, Ryan Johnson's brother's
Yeah.
music?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think they're
Really
cousins.
good.
I
Cousin?
think.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Really good. I love the score of this movie.
Absolutely.
Thought it was great.
Apparently, they used to vacation together when they were kids, and they'd like make movies and music together, and then they just did it for the rest of their
amazing.
lives.
I mean,
It's
this
the
is what I
best.
want. But I think my favorite note about the fashion and the tech is in the future, that is 2074, the bad guys wear wide brim hats. They come in with,
Yeah.
with
That is cool.
full length trench coats
Yeah.
and wide brim hats.
Real
Now,
wide hats.
first trivia question, guys. Why do the bad guys in the future wear really wide brim black hats? This is kind of a joke trivia question.
Okay.
But I'm just jumping into trivia right now. Your
Is
first
this
trivia
is this
question.
payback for yesterday?
It's payback for yes. No, it's not pay. It's pay.
Pay forward. It was a
yeah.
beautifully
exactly.
made pun
Your-
quiz.
your quiz
It was
was
actually
incredible.
exquisite.
This will not be as good. But,
No, Justin's not going to be as good at it.
but just think, all you need is in the movie. The movie has given you all the clues you need, and it's also it's a joke.
Okay? Can I get? So I allowed you one clue in
Yes.
the quiz. Can I get one? So when you say, is it a joke that's also a pun, or is it a joke that's not a pun?
I don't think. I guess it's sort of punny. It's sort of punny. I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't.
Can I
this doesn't
get
fall-
my
I don't
can I
think
get my clue back then?
Here, I'll just,
that didn't
I'll
work for
just
me.
say my dumb joke because it's
You better
it's
just
more
say
of a
it.
joke. The rest of the trivia, which I'll do as it comes up organically, it will be real trivia. It's because they work for the Rainmaker. Because
Oh,
they can't,
very
it's like their
good.
umbrellas
Yes.
basically because they don't want to get wet. Anyway, okay, so that was a dumb joke
Oh,
trivia.
wow.
But I did
Wow.
love the hats. The other thing about the high and low tech, it's a lot of good integration of high and low tech, like just like really poor people and old tech with them. Also, Emily Blunt she lives on a farm and she has like this floating crop duster. It's
Yeah,
like it's cool. It's very interstellar.
It's like a drone.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Floating crop duster, but like 1980s gas stove.
Yeah.
I liked sort of, I thought that was great. And I also think like this movie has a visual look to it that is distinctive and like you can put just stills of the movie and just like, that's Looper. It's just so distinctive. Like Joe Gore standing next to a field of wheat. Just Looper, and it's a sci-fi movie, even though that's not how you would normally expect a sci-fi movie to look.
I mean, I
It's
think
great.
even just the choice to put it in Kansas City is fun. I mean, because then you obviously get the like very close proximity of the city, but like he keeps making jokes about how shitty Kansas City is, and like that, like he's like, yeah, like Abe came back and had a lot of time on his hands, so he just took over the city, which would be impressive if it was any other city. Like he's like, the city is like
The city
so
sucks.
lame. Like it doesn't take much to take it over.
Jeff Daniels' character is my favorite. I mean, I love Kid Blue, and I do like Sid, little Sid, but Jeff Daniels is
You like the demon said?
Yeah, Demon Sid. But I like Jeff Daniels because he's basically like this beleaguered middleman. Beleaguered middle managers are
You
some of my
love that.
favorite characters in
You
all
do.
films. I mean,
You also love Jeff Daniels.
Darth
being an
Vader is kind of
asshole.
a beleaguered middle manager. He's like,
Rachel's gonna be watching this. You need to say Anakin Skywalker.
Excuse me,
Anakin Skywalker.
yeah, right.
Spoilers for the original trilogy.
No, in Return of the Jedi, Darth Vader has to go to the Death Star and be like, "You better pick up the pace because the Emperor is coming." And they're like, "Oh shit!" He's the guy that Emperor sends to crack the whips. Anyway, but I like Jeff Daniels because he plays it he's such an asshole. He's such a casual asshole, and he's the master of that. So Jeff Daniels, he's getting my vote. But what do you guys like Abe? And his outfits are cool.
He does have some cool
He looks
fashion.
like a little bit more future.
Yeah, he's clearly held on to whatever the 2070s.
Yeah, the vibes. He's got like, he wears like a sort of like almost like a kimono type thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's just a high collar, but yeah.
I'm upset that he got an off-screen death. Spoiler alert. So
Yeah.
I should stop saying that.
Yeah, he needs to. Yeah, this whole thing has been spoiled like 20 times. But also, yeah, he needs to have he needs to go down in a blaze of glory.
Yeah, I mean he's been in like two, definitely more than two, but two off the top of my head, like terrific action films where he's been fantastic.
What are these action movies?
Speed and this one.
Yes, Speed.
right.
And he has
I keep forgetting that
he has off-screen deaths in both of them.
Yeah,
Come on,
give Jeff Daniels
justice for Jeff.
I also like that Jeff has the army of Gat men. They're called Gat men.
Yeah.
And they all want to be his, like, they're all like his children. In a way, they all just want to impress him. It's like he's like the Fagin in Oliver or whatever. He's got this army of orphans that he
Got to pick a pocket hot.
I mean, truly, right? He picked up.
Or like Shredder in Ninja Turtles.
Go ninja, go ninja, go. Go ninja, go ninja, go.
Sure. But like, they talk about how Joe was like a little orphan kid, like the Blunderbuster or whatever was bigger than he was when he started him. So like, yeah, he literally is just picking orphans off the street.
But wasn't Joe? Wasn't it unusual that Joe was unusually young?
He was unusually young. Yeah,
he was young. He saw something in him. He saw the passion.
Yeah, I mean, look, I
didn't see. I missed it. Sorry, Joe Gore. Come on the podcast.
You were just looking at his eyebrows.
Yeah,
that's the thing that I find perplexing. The eyebrow choice.
They don't need to do that.
Well, because like it's not like he's turning into Ray Liotta. He's turning into Bruce Willis.
They do make him look like he's turning into Ray Liotta. That's
totally.
a good pull.
That's really.
I'm like, Bruce Willis has normal eyebrows. Like,
Yeah.
I actually, you know what I don't think about when I think about Bruce Willis? His eyebrows at all. So, like, why are we emphasizing Joe Gore's eyebrows? It doesn't make any sense. The nose, I get, like the flat profile. I get why you'd want to do that. I don't know why they're painting his eyebrows on or giving him lipstick.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing, I mean, presumably the thing is just like, well, we've got these two people who are supposed to be playing the same character 30 years apart. They look nothing like each other. What's the easiest thing to do? Well, we can't recast them.
Yeah.
We can't recast either of them. This is a world with telekinesis and time weirdness and stuff. But we're going to maintain absolute fidelity to the human aging process.
Yes.
In the actual world.
Yeah, or at least try.
Or at least try. And then have Mr. Gordon-Levitt do his best Bruce Willis. It's so sad. He has to do all the Bruce Willis sort of
the
dialogue and
mannerisms,
mannerisms, and he doesn't get to like shoot up an entire building's worth of people.
Yeah.
Unlike original Bruce Willis.
Yep.
In a fantastic sequence.
I did like that sequence. The shootout.
Yeah, it was just like it's Ryan Johnson just clearly just being like, I really want to get Bruce Willis in this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a puzzle box cerebral. Really, I just want him to shoot shit up. All right, Bruce, let's go.
Yeah.
Oh God, you could feel the sort of the catharsis in that scene. I loved it.
Yes.
Although I would have liked to have seen him shoot Jeff Daniels.
Yes, we didn't get that. Maybe in the director's cut. So okay, we're kind of up and down on. Yeah, I don't think they don't need the makeup. All right, I agree with you guys. I also thought, anyway, I'm not gonna say more about Joseph Gordon-Levitt. What do you guys think about Emily Blunt in this movie? Curious, because this is a relatively early Emily Blunt movie, I think. I mean,
Where
had
is
done
this compared to
like
Live, Die, Repeat?
The Edge of Tomorrow is around the same time, maybe a little earlier. But still, like Blunt is not. I mean, she's
not the
still an A-list.
action hero.
Yeah, I feel like when is Edge edge die repeat or whatever the hell it's called.
Edge die repeat.
Edge die repeat. Oh my god, that sounds like horrible. Like that sounds like some weird porn search term or something.
Sure does,
Edge
Justin.
die repeat.
All right. Hi to your parents.
And mine.
Do you want me to cut that?
2014 was
Yes,
Edge
it's-
of
Oh, so it's
Tomorrow.
after this.
Yeah, so I think like Blunt. That's what I was thinking. Like when I first saw this,
Sicario's later. When is Sicario?
Yeah, Sicario's 15, I think.
Okay.
I think the thing is, I was like, she
Yeah.
made I didn't register her. I was like, oh, that's just some actress. I don't know her.
Yeah.
But this time, like watching her, she's, did she win for Oppenheimer? She was nominated at least for Oppenheimer. I can't remember if she won. I don't think she won.
I don't think she won.
Yeah.
either.
Anyway, but she's been nominated for Academy Awards.
She
and
should
stuff,
have.
and,
Justice
like,
for Kitty.
but she, she's I think she's really good in it. Yeah.
I think so too. I was a little nervous in the first half of this movie where I was like, oh boy, because our only like lady characters so far were Susie.
Yeah.
Susie, she's got a whole.
What do you got against Susie?
She's got a whole life. I don't know. I did like that little glimpse of the scene, and we see where she picks up her daughter from across the way and brings her over, and you get a little glimpse into like what Susie's life is. But I was just like, okay, it's all gonna be like fat, like blustery, dumb dudes with their guns and like sex worker ladies not wearing a lot of clothes. Okay, here we go. But I liked her. I want her gun safe.
Right. Oh, so yeah. So do we
Yeah,
need to talk about
her
the
safe space was literally a safe.
Yes.
Very good.
So Laura, you want a safe like this, right? Sometimes
We need one of these.
We were both wondering whether Ryan Johnson had children
kids at this
but
point.
he does not have children. So at all. So
Yeah.
But we were amazed at the depiction of Sid and his like freakouts and how sometimes it makes you as a parent want to run into a safe and lock the door behind you.
Or it feels like your house is unsafe. Like things
your
are
house
flying.
might explode.
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
like everything in your house could be a weapon and you didn't expect it.
Yeah, that was sorry.
We're not trying to scare you, but like for real. Like when you get in the toddler years, everybody talks about the toddler years, my kid yelled at me because I didn't cut his banana right. That's all true. You will get yelled at for not cutting the banana right or whatever it is. But they're like this big and cute. And then they get bigger and then they get louder and stronger. And it's like it gets pretty intense sometimes.
And then one day they hear this episode of the podcast.
Yes.
Ethan knows. You know you're grumpy, Ethan.
But it is I think to a non-parent, those sequences might be, I don't know, they might be just like a little weird because you're like, why is she afraid of this kid? And like, what is, what's the.
I'm afraid of my kids sometimes.
Yeah, but that is
One
sometimes
hundo.
that can be the case. Like
This is something I wanted to ask you guys because when I first met Justin, one of the first things we talked about was shockingly Christopher Nolan.
What?
Yeah, I
How did you get him to open up about that?
It was this whole thing. I had to sort of direct the conversation a particular way. I had to like.
I think it was like Tushar was just like, hey, we're thinking about joining you at MIT. And I was like, cool. Have you seen Tenet?
Yeah. And so I had Tenet trauma because I mean, you know the story quite well, but I saw Tenet when it came out and I loved it. And no one around me.
Oh, you
did.
didn't? Oh.
And you were the first people. This is a Tenet first household.
Yes, it is.
And this is my cinematic home.
Tenet
because of
lovers
it.
are safe and welcome here.
But yeah, so we got to talking about Interstellar. And I never liked Interstellar.
You don't like
And
Interstellar,
we watched it again together and it still didn't really work for me.
We tried to cheer and
yeah. Although we did it with Tenet and it just with
works.
Tenet it just improved. It so much enhanced my love of that film
Yeah.
that it is now unequivocally my favorite film of all time.
That's awesome.
But with Interstellar, the thing that you said that brought me the closest to thinking, oh, okay, actually I think that there's something that I just wasn't picking up on the first time was the parent dynamic. I mean, again, this is not subtextual, right? But
sure.
But it's not something that like this came out in what when did it
2014?
14? Yeah. So whatever. I was in my late 20s, no kids on the horizon, none of that. That whole dimension was invisible to me. And I think that is the thing that I kind of appreciated the most about Interstellar.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of interesting. A bunch of these sci-fi time travel or time bendy type movies that I was just sort of listing a few of them in my head, and a lot of them do turn on like some deep there's some deep parental structure that's playing an important role. And I want to ask you guys like how this movie, like how, like what you made of the like, on the one hand, this like slightly, in my view, heavy-handed view that like just having his mother around and the love of a good parent will keep you from becoming Hitler. Which I thought was maybe, this is a slightly unfair way of putting it.
Yeah.
But then also like what you guys just said, which is just like, well, Ryan Johnson doesn't have kids, but
I know,
this
it's interesting.
this thing rang really true. So what do you?
I think it's really interesting because that was very surprising to me that because it did ring true, and also I think it's every parent's thought that like you can have a feeling that you have some exercise, some cause over your children's future, and that you can help them in some ways,
mold them
to
who they. Yeah, I remember.
Even though there's much of their lives is just completely out of your control. So
sure, and they are who they are. I know. We had this exact conversation, Justin. I don't know if you remember it, but I remember thinking. I think about it all the time because that was one of those moments where I was like, I married a philosopher, and it's so annoying. Because I was like,
so did I.
I was like bummed.
not the annoying bit. Not the annoying bit.
We love you. But like when I was talking, I was like, yeah, fine. Like, I totally accept that I will not have any control or like any say over like who my kiddo is and who he'll want to be and like what he wants to pursue in life. And I think that's great. But I really did think or hoped that I'd be able to ensure by modeling kindness, we'd make a kind kid. Like and you were just like, if you didn't think you would control any of the other variables, like why would you think that's the one variable you could control? And I was like, God damn it.
I think it's one of these things where it's very mysterious. And I think, we do exercise some control, but the amount of control you have and the extent, the sort of how intentional you can be with that, the amount of control, sort of causation you have it's just really difficult. And so I think it's hard to know. And so it puts you in this situation. It's this weird situation as a parent where like you're constantly like the nihilist in you is just like, well, whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
And then, but of course you can't, that's not a way to live either. So you have to just like kind of proceed as if you can do something that will affect them positively, but you don't really have any idea what. So you're kind of always modeling behavior. So you're always like engaged in this higher order reflection when you're engaging with them. Like, what am I modeling? Do I want to do that? Oh, but what do I really want to do right now? And you're like,
right. Yeah. What am I performing? And like, what do I actually?
And I'm really pissed off right now because you're being a dingus.
He's protecting us because you can't do it.
Okay, I told you to stay away from him, didn't I?
I never did anything.
Do you think I'm stupid?
So?
I told you already. So? You do what I tell you, Sid.
You can't tell me what to do because you're not my mom. You're not my mom. You're a liar. You're going to get killed because you won't stop lying.
Sid,
liar, you're lying to me. I hate you, liar. You're lying to me. I hate you, liar. I hate you, liar. You're lying to me. I hate you.
One part of the movie that I really enjoyed, and maybe it was also like now having this layer of knowing that Bruce Willis has aphasia and has struggled with his own memories and thoughts and clarity, is when he's trying to talk about what the experience is of having memories that are sort of like getting replaced in real time as young Joe is acting. And he's just like, it's like trying to explain this as a precise mechanism for a very messy experience. Yeah. But the messy experience, too, I think, is like what the parenting experience is and the intergenerational attempts to kind of like break out of these cycles. I saw a lot of things on Reddit being like, is Sid the same person as Joe? And one of the like reasons they thought that is because Joe talks about how his mother used to like put his fingers in her hair or put her fingers in his hair. And then Emily Blunt puts her fingers in Sid's hair. I was like, no, really what this is, it's just that it's just showing that we all need affection and love and support. And he's just thinking cyclically. He notices that like, he doesn't think that he understands that old Joe's plan is evil because it's trying to prevent violence with violence. And it's just creating more pain and it's just creating more abandonment, which is the same experience he had. And like, all we can do is just try to chip away at those generational traumas and cycles. And like, so he's decided to, in his part, end the cycle. I don't know if it's going to mean that Sid doesn't become a rainmaker. We can't know that. And like, we can't know that as parents. So like anything we do makes any impact except for that we have to try.
But that is a part of being a parent is it's like, even though something that I didn't like was enacted upon me, I'm going to explicitly not enact that on my children. So, you know, I think that a lot of it is that. And you know, in moments of weakness, parents give in and they do stuff to their kids and their kids go, why do you do that? And it's like, well, that's how it was with me. You'll say these sorts of things, but like, I think in our better angels would say, don't do that, break the cycle. And so a lot of parenting is that kind of thing. By the way, they cannot be the same person.
No, they're
not. Or
not.
the film is depicting incest.
Yes, exactly.
They have sex.
Yes, I know. Listen, this is just a Reddit thread, but I that was my immediate thought too. I was like, that's dumb. But they were also like, is Abe also Kid Blue? People were like trying to find, I don't know if this was like influenced by Tenet and Neil being Max or whatever, but
people really hate the Neil as Max interpretation on the internet. So it might
be that then.
You know, it might have been that like, yeah, anyway, that's
no,
backlash
I don't
to this.
subscribe to that view that Sid is Joe. I was just people were noticing that common thread, and I was thinking that common thread has more to do with cycles. And
no, this is the incest fiction you get when you start googling edge die repeat.
Edge die repeat. Oh no, it's looper porn. The other thing is, if you think of it in that way, actually, the film is actually really tragic. So you get this guy, old Joe, whose memories are slowly being eroded, right? The thing he cares the most about, he's slowly losing her in his mind, his wife. He can't remember her. And then you get young Joe, who ends up killing himself to stop his future self from doing something he thinks is going to be evil. And so both of them neither of them get what they want. In a way, you know, neither of them get, you know, I mean, or unless you read young Joe as like what he wanted was the opportunity to do something important thing.
He seems to just want connection, and you know, he gets it sort of briefly.
With Emily Blunt. Yeah.
But also, you might think again, if you think, you know, if you're interested in the question of sort of, is it possible to escape this sort of cycle of I'm for whatever reason I was more drawn to the self-harm side of things than the sort of harming other people. You know, the his degeneration through that wonderfully put together, but and also quite funny montage where Mr. Gordon-Levitt turns into
his hairline moves back
into Mr. Willis.
yeah.
And it occurred to me that the answer is sort of yes, he kind of does break out of the cycle of self-harm by indulging in like the most extreme form of self-harm, which is by killing himself.
Yeah, I see.
And so I thought that's, you know, that's not a terrible resolution.
Yeah. Well, it's a little bit. I mean, again, this goes back to that motivation of that character. One of his cycles of self is like he does this looper stuff. He gets rich, but then he squanders it. He becomes a criminal. He gets addicted to whatever this MDMA drug is, but he's saved by this nice lady that he ends up living with for 3 years in China. And then his motivation is like, that was such, like, finally he found meaning in life, and that was given to him by this woman. So I have to save her or whatever. That's like his whole motivation for going back. To kill a bunch of kids. Like, I don't know. It's like, it's weird. It's like he saved himself and he found peace, and then he's like, no, fuck that shit. I gotta go and kill these kids. And
yeah.
I don't know.
Insane.
Maybe it's like because he feels like he owes her or something, but like it is a little bit like, yeah, maybe that was not he didn't get what he actually needed.
He just has this like vengeful violence in him that like he can't seem to totally extricate. I was happy to see that there are libraries still in 2044.
Yeah,
so that's cool. And that they've got like really cool screens and stuff. Also,
they're open 24 hours.
They're open 24
seemingly.
hours. Disconcerting though that you can look up somebody's birth date and then find out where they live. In New York City, there are baby pictures.
But they did mention that, right? Like, or at least in the future, they have like whatever the
they have
everybody's
tracking.
And
so this is the sort of seeds of that.
Yeah.
What I don't
publicly
understand,
available.
Yeah, what I don't understand is how he was able to get a printout for free in a public library.
That's something I also wondered about.
That is logically inconsistent.
I know. Yeah. I haven't print anything in a library in a long time, but yeah, man, I remember that was a big thing in college. Having the credits to be able to print at the printing center. That was the situation.
Actually, on the printing thing, so I went back and I rewatched just the little scene, and I wanted to get your because
The library scene?
No, the diner scene, the
straw scene.
the Ryan Johnson does Heat scene.
Yeah.
Which I want to talk about a little bit, but no, I want to ask you guys about there's the bit where so Bruce Willis has the big printout. Also, just like these massive printouts. It's not even small
It's like an
A4.
A7
It's like
yeah, for real.
And so this massive printout does Mr. Gordon-Levitt intentionally tear a bit out, or
That I
is
missed
that
as
out in
well.
the like I couldn't
know.
because that's kind of like the whole plot sort of turns on him having that information.
Yeah.
And it was kind of unclear to me. I actually found the logic, the sort of character or whatever, the narrative logic of that sequence kind of confusing. Of
Their interaction.
Yeah,
I mean, my take on it is that sort of Bruce Willis, I'm just going to refer to them by the actor's name. So Bruce Willis sort of knows that Joe Gore isn't going to kill him. But of course, Joe Gore is posturing like, I'm going to kill you or whatever. He's like, why don't you kill me? So there's this awkwardness of like, you have this golden opportunity to kill him and you don't do it. Why? And I think this is because they want to sort of, he's interested. He wants to meet. He's like,
wants
this
to
is
know
my
who I
future
turn
self. I
into.
want to meet this guy. I want to talk to him. And, but they don't get much from one another. And I think that scene is them realizing like they don't like each other.
Mm-mm.
And that they really are opposed. In even though Joe Gore doesn't know yet what Bruce Willis's mission is, he sort of comes to realize like there's something like I don't like about this guy who I'm going to be.
Yeah.
So that's the way I read it, but it is like an awkward scene.
It's a super awkward scene. It's also it then sends Bruce Willis off on basically a side quest, like his like whatever massacre of the innocent or whatever,
the killing children quest.
Yeah, it has almost no impact on anything that happens. He's just off he's just got his own B story.
Yeah.
And I was super confused because like, I mean, take that scene in Heat, right? Well, like the big sort of, they're in the diner and De Niro and Pacino and what, like the rest of the film, even though they only like they meet again at the end and whatever, but like the rest of the film, even though they're off screen, actually for the entire film, even though they're not, like each is like responding to the other, right? They are very much like their fates are intertwined very, very strongly, even though they're interacting very, very minimally. Whereas over here, it sort of feels like there's this set piece in the middle of the film, or whenever that roughly, and then it just kind of they just go their separate ways, and then sort of I don't know, it feels like a sort of I found that kind of perplexing. It also seemed to mark the moment for me in the film where things got a bit less good, because I think the pacing and the
didn't like the blunt stuff.
I did like the blunt stuff.
The farm stuff.
The farm stuff. Yeah. The farm stuff had the best set piece. The exploding heart.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Talk about taking a still and looking at that. Like, give me that for my office.
That's a great scene.
Beautiful. I mean, I just think all of that just looks. I don't know if it was CGI or not.
I don't know how they did that with the gravity reverses or whatever. It looks so.
Whatever
good.
it was just, and it looked way better than The Last Jedi, which I think looks really nice, but like way bigger budget. And I think those floaty bits of Looper are just stunning.
Yeah,
but I think there was, I mean, we at the end of the film, after we watched it together, we were all just like, yeah, it was really like I was on board for that ride. But looking back, I feel like my memory of the film was that set piece at the end towards the end is fantastic and worth looking forward to, and But the thing that I enjoyed the most was just sort of the structure and the pacing of the first part. And then in the second part, it just it felt like sort of isolated bits that were really engaging. But I mean, I think this speaks also to what Justin was saying about sort of, I feel like I didn't get what was going on, like Mr. Gordon-Levitt's sort of motivation. And I think, this was the other thing. I think the sort of very clunky introduction, I mean, it's not technically the introduction, but the very clunky sort of elevating to prominence the telekinesis
Yeah.
stuff. I think maybe that's the reason why it felt like a different kind of film from that point on.
I mean, the thing that I think so about the connection thing is like, so when they meet in the diner, and then it's revealed that like what one does affects the other, including the memories. And so then you get like periodically there's this intercutting between the two storylines where we go back and forth, and there's that point in the scene that you're just talking about, that with the Garrett Dillahunt gets lifted up and his heart explodes. That's actually intercut.
With him being caught by
with Bruce Willis going in to kill Susie, Piper Parabo's kid, and he doesn't do it because he gets the memory of the TK guy,
and he's like, "That's the
and he's like,
Rainmaker."
"That's
Yes.
the kid." He
So
says
that
it.
saves
He
Susie's
says
kid.
the
Oh.
Rainmaker. So it's actually kind of interesting. There's a lot of
that's
intercutting
right,
there that I think is, even though yes, they've gone their separate ways, it's established, like in Last Jedi, like these Force dyad is happening. And there's going to be this kind of like connection. They're going to be forever linked in a way, and one will sort of know what the other is doing because of this memory connection.
Okay, no, I think that's totally fair.
Which I think is cool. Like I think the movie. I was thinking also about how the movie it also intercuts Bruce Willis spying on Piper, and of course he remembers her. He's like, oh, that was like my first crush or whatever. But that's intercut with Joe Gore and Emily Blunt sort of falling for each other. So again, there's these sort of resonances of the characters where one is kind of remembering love and the other is sort of forming a new love. And so I think Johnson, to me, these were things where it was planned. The script is well designed, and I think he executes it well in terms of this kind of, I like intercutting in general, as Tushar knows this. And I think Johnson did a really good job with that stuff. And that all occurs, I think, after they meet, because their meeting is sort of the moment when their kind of fates get intertwined, so to speak, and made metaphorically. And then after that, you get these little resonances between their plot lines, even though they're separated, which
no, okay. Yeah, I take that back. I think that's now I'm just upset that there was such a dearth of telekinesis and heat.
I know, man. I was hoping Pacino would be like, if I see you come around the corner, I will not hesitate. And he's got his little like lighter flipping around as he says it. Guys, I got to do another trivia here.
Okay.
So, so you guys already sort of jumped on this one, so I think you guys are just going to get this one. So I'm going to do two in a row, which
boy.
is so there are two actors in this film who've worked with Rian Johnson the most of any actors. Who are they? And you can name the actor or the character that they play. I think you guys know this because it already came up.
Noah Segal. And Mr. Gordon-Levitt.
And Mr. Gordon-Levitt.
Yep.
That's right. I didn't know how I didn't know how into you if you knew the Noah Segan thing.
He's in all of the Knives Out trilogy. Like,
I had no
every one
idea
of his
until
movies.
yeah.
I think every one of because he also had a cameo in Last Jedi.
He's in Last Jedi.
He's just he's just like riding on the back of like some vehicle that's just sort of driving across.
He's
the
also done
foreground.
voice work for You Must Remember This, which is very sweet.
Wow. So he's like a part of the family.
He's part of the family.
Okay,
yeah.
here's another one that we've already sort of anticipated, but there's half of it that I don't know if I would not have been able to get this. Okay, so Bruce Willis has played a time traveler in other movies.
Okay.
Name the two other movies in which he's played a time traveler. So the first one you've already named.
12 Monkeys.
12 Monkeys. Okay.
Do you know the second movie in which Bruce Willis plays or his character is a time traveler?
Mm-mm.
I didn't know this either.
Right. He doesn't. Fifth Element does not involve any time.
I have not seen this movie.
Okay. Then
Yeah.
no, I don't. If you haven't seen
Yeah,
it, there's
But
no
you
way.
might have seen it. I don't know.
Doubtful.
If you haven't seen it, I've almost certainly not seen it.
It's The Kid. Where apparently,
no, it's
Have you seen
Disney.
this?
No, but it's Disney's The Kid.
Disney's The Kid. Have you seen
Come
this
on,
movie?
Justin. No, but I
No,
know.
okay.
I find it
a
hilarious
time
that it's called
traveler in
Disney's
the-
The Kid.
Yeah, apparently, like he confronts like
His own
his
child?
child or whatever, his younger self, or I don't know. Somehow there's some.
Oh, so it's like a 16 going on, whatever, like the Jennifer. Never mind.
I've never seen
my
it,
words
but
have
this
stopped.
is what I learned.
There's also 13 going on 30, where Zac Efron turns into Matthew Perry.
All right, so let's see if you guys can deduce this one. I'm going to give you 2 clues for this one. All right. So what year was Joe born? Okay. So the film takes place in 2044.
Okay.
How old do you think Joe is in the movie? And I'll give you one more clue. It's an important year for us.
Was it 2019?
Yes. He was born in
Aw.
2019. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. That was not a fair question, Justin. Can I just say, when I put together my quiz,
I was trying to figure out how I was going to give these clues. Okay. All right. Here's another one. All right. This one's going to be more in the Tusharian mode.
Okay.
All right. So in addition to feature films, Rian Johnson directed music videos for 2 bands. All right. I'm going to give you the clues to the bands.
oh God,
The first is An Altitude-Loving Animal and An Old School Music Box. Name the 2 bands. An Altitude-Loving Animal and An Old School Music Box. That was your clue.
oh, that famous prog rock band Mountain Goat.
Yeah.
That-
Yes,
actually-
the Mountain Goats.
okay, that
The Mountain Goats.
I was okay.
Wow, Tushar has got one of them.
Wow.
By using the clues.
using the clues.
All right, what's the other one? An Old School Music Box.
I don't know why I couldn't get to mountain goats. And I was like, Arctic monkeys? They're
Th-
like,
these-
it's Arctic
I'll give you one more clue.
altitude? Yeah.
This band is in the same. I mean, it's not the same type of music as Mountain Goats, but it's contemporaneous with Mountain Goats.
It's like 2000s
yeah,
alt.
yeah, exactly.
Can I just say I've never heard of the Mountain Goats. So this is
Wait,
purely
what?
this is so my guess was purely on the basis of
Pure-
the quality.
We're
of
gonna
Justin's
get through
clue.
this year if it kills me. Really? No mountain goats? Okay.
I know what I'm doing when I get
This-
home tonight.
Yes, this one. I think you'll know. This band. I mean, I do guess it, but you'll recognize the band. I think this band is more famous than Mountain Goats.
Okay.
An Old School Music Box. All right, so this was my. Maybe that clue wasn't good. It was.
Wait. Hold on.
Oh, I thought you were giving up. Sorry. Contemporaneous with Mountain Goats.
Oh, Casio Tone for the Painfully Alone.
It's you're in the right space. It's LCD Sound System.
Oh, okay.
LCD sounds.
Okay.
Anyway, so
I was
that's-
like, Casio Tone is sort of a music
yeah,
box.
yeah, totally. Yeah, no, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so yeah, those were my. I think that's it. Those were my. I was hastily put together 10 minutes before you showed up.
Okay,
Tushar.
I have an on the fly
Okay.
trivia question for both of you.
Ooh, okay.
Following on from one of Justin's questions about repeated collaborators. Where is Mr. Gordon-Levitt in the second Knives Out film?
Ooh.
Oh
Glass
my God,
Onion.
There's no way I'm gonna get this. But I could try to deduce it.
I don't remember that movie very well,
okay,
unfortunately. It's been a
so
while.
They okay,
They
hold
go
on.
on a boat.
I gotta guess.
to get to the.
No, I gotta guess. And I'm just gonna go with this as my guess. If it's no, then Laura, you should get a chance to guess. My guess is that I'm gonna tell me if you need me to be more specific. But he appears in the first part of the film. That is when all the cameos happen, which is like you get the cameo of Benoit Blanc, and this is like when they're delivering the things. It's not.
It's not
Damn
them.
it.
It's not when they. Yeah. And Benoit Blanc lives with
Hugh Grant.
Hugh
Grant?
Grant. Yeah.
Okay, that was my best guess.
Is he sort of hidden or is it obvious?
It's extraordinarily hidden.
Okay,
Oh,
like
damn.
hidden the way because I thought that went by really fast when he was in for a hot second Brothers Bloom. I was like, whoa,
Yeah,
that's like
no,
it was panned
It
right
was
past
even
him.
more. Okay, so his cameos, because not all of his cameos are visual cameos, right? Because he, it's a voice on, I think, on a television broadcast or something in the most recent.
Oh, okay.
Wake Up Dead
Okay.
Man.
Okay,
This is even more hidden. Don't ask
Okay.
me why I know this.
Yeah, what is it?
I give up. Tell us.
So there's a sort of there's a bong sound on the hour.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's a distorted.
Come on, really?
Gordon-Levitt.
That's his cameo.
That's his cameo.
Oh my God.
I distorted like a slow down, like in
Yeah,
Inception.
Yeah,
when
or
it's
sort of wah, but yeah.
the Brahms. Yeah,
Wow.
and it turns out it's opera the whole time. Amazing.
Well, guys, I think we talked through Looper. I don't know. We looped our way through Looper. Tushar, thank you so much for being here. Folks, if they want to find your writing on physics and philosophy of physics, where can they find that?
Well, if you want to find my writings on philosophy of physics, you have my deepest sympathies.
What was it? TusharMenon.com?
I have a website, TusharMenon.com.
Yeah.
If you're really perturbed by questions about how light rays behave in Gödel space-times, then look me up.
Well, Gödel space-times, those are the ones that you can have time travel.
That's
in,
the
right?
one with
Yeah.
well, That's an interesting question.
Okay, tell us.
So you can have what are known as closed time-like curves in kernel spacetimes, which is to say you can have the sort of causal loops, right? But interestingly, it is the precise pathology of those general relativistic solutions that gives rise to the closed time-like curves that means that you can't actually set up a grandfather paradox type situation. For reasons that, okay, if people are super interested, you should consider applying to MIT and coming to my Paradox and Infinity lectures, which I've inherited from former podcast guest Agustin Rio. Anyway, sorry.
But you talk about this in Paradox?
I do talk about this in Paradox, yeah. Very briefly, I might talk about Looper at some point in the future.
Assign it. You can do this sort of thing.
The person who taught it before me, Ben Brass McKee, actually assigned Time Crimes. Which I have still not seen.
Is that the Spanish one?
It's the Spanish one. Time Crimes is consistent in the Lewisian sense, but that's not fun. I mean, it's fun.
Consistency isn't fun.
No.
Or...
It's fun. No. Sorry, let me clarify. It's fun within the context of the film.
Okay, I was gonna say
it's fun within the context of the film because yada yada.
But it's more fun in a class to talk about an
like the
inconsistent...
weird shit in the I do the weird stuff in class.
Have you ever assigned a time travel film in any of your film classes? Okay,
we're too busy doing Passion of Joan of Arc and Troll 2.
Troll 2.
I don't have the courage of conviction to assign any kind of film for anything that I teach.
I see.
I mean, it might be different if I, like you, had been teaching philosophy film, but asking students to like watch a film, it sort of feels like the substitute teachers come in and has just put on a video.
Yeah.
For the kids.
And I love that.
Well, you don't have to show it in class.
Yeah, but it has that kind of vibe. It has a kind of, today, kids, I'm going to have my sunglasses on. I'm a bit hungover. So why don't you go home and watch? Yeah, that's sort of how it
Look
feels
at Tushar. What a dedicated teacher, folks.
Yeah.
Go take Tushar's class, Paradox and Infinity.
There will be no films
there'll be zero films.
Because Tushar is not hungover ever, and he's always prepared.
Yeah, he's anyway. As for, and you're not on social media or anything.
I'm not on social media.
So find him on his website and email him. Tushar loves getting emails from people, from random people.
Unsolicited emails.
Yeah.
I absolutely.
You can write to him and tell him that his views on Star Wars are wrong, and
I don't doubt that.
You're gonna get some mail.
I
don't think so.
Forget some mail. I mean, I'm a philosopher of physics who's not super into science fiction.
Yeah.
I'm in a minority, and I know a lot of philosophers of physics. I'm going to get hate mail from friends and colleagues.
There you go. Yeah,
and former supervisors if they're listening to this. So,
no.
Sorry, David.
We like to do this. We like to, for example, cover Lord of the Rings, a trilogy cherished by many, and then have Agnes Callard come on and be like, I didn't like this very much.
I don't even like movies. I don't even like Lord of the Rings.
Really, she's like, yeah, I hate movies. And we're like, Agnes, will you be on 3 episodes? And that's true stories.
All right. Well, it has happened. Well, as for us, we are on the internet. We're at CowsPod on all the social media sites, Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter. You can find us on the web at cowspod.com. And in 2 weeks, we'll be talking to Andrew Overby of the Authorized Novelizations podcast about Uncut Gems. See you then. Oh, Tushar, just look back behind you there on the wall.
Oh, I saw it.
You saw that coming in? Okay, sorry.
I noticed Memento, Inception, and Prime. This is
his office art.
Yes, no, this.
Yeah, Laura's like, I'm not letting this be put up anywhere downstairs.
No, that's allowed. It's the Ghost Eagle one not allowed in downstairs.
The Ghost Eagle. We got a bunch of paintings from my parents.
Okay.
That's why they're in the hallway.
Wait, hang on. So Miami Vice is fine.
Yeah. Oh,
but
Miami Vice.
Inception. No,
down with Inception. I think these were originally, remember, Justin, in our Cambridge apartment, it was Memento, Inception, and Primer. And I was just like, it's just such like a nerdy, puzzly film bro like trio, but I love all these movies, so that's totally fine. It just makes
So
sense.
you just want
in
like
your...
a film bro-y, non-puzzly movie like Miami Vice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
That was a limited run print of that
I
Miami
just love
Vice
the colors
poster.
of that one.
It
I
looks
think it's a
great.
painting. I think it's really fun. It does have really big guns prominent. And, didn't think about that with our baby.
Yeah,
but there
that's how
is.
it is sometimes.